World at War is the epitome of what a Call of Duty game should be. It is dark, ominous, and sometimes even horror-like. As a kid, I remember being on the edge of my seat waiting for the next jump scare from a Japanese soldier laying in the grass to one of my fellow soldiers being killed out of nowhere. These were all of the reasons why Call of Duty World at War is one of my favorite games of all time. And as you guys know, I'm attempting to platinum every COD game. I've already done COD 1, COD 2, and COD Modern Warfare 2019. Now it's time to do a classic in World at War. World at War released in 2008 and is known as one of the greatest CODs of all time, mostly because this was the first COD game to feature a zombies mode, but nonetheless, I believe it has one of the most compelling and engaging campaigns as well. For the Platinum Trophy, there are 45 trophies consisting of solo and co-op campaign missions. I decided to go for all 42 in one run and do the 3 co-op trophies in between to limit the amount of times I had to go back. According to PSNProfiles, World at War is rated an 8 out of 10 in difficulty and is notoriously known for having one of the hardest Call of Duty campaigns on veteran difficulty. But I was able to beat COD Classic on veteran, so how hard can it really be? But like in every COD I played growing up, I always played on easy or regular for the most enjoyable experience. And now, after playing World at War on veteran difficulty for the very first time, they were not wrong in saying that this veteran campaign was not easy. So, without further ado, let's get into this platinum. Mission 1, Semper Fi, starts off with you, Private Miller, being held as a prisoner of war and tortured by a Japanese commander. After seeing your fellow soldier get his throat slashed, it seems as if it's all over when Sergeant Sullivan and the rest of the Marines come to the rescue. Right away, I picked up my first death card in a nearby hut. There's a death card in each mission, and after picking up all 13, you unlock a trophy. Nonetheless, after continuing on, I got my first trophy called Saved Private Ryan, after saving a fellow soldier from burning to death after being attacked by a Japanese soldier. He's good. What? Oh, there it is. I was gonna say, I was like, bro, it's good. After getting past my first encounter with an MG nest, me and the rest of the Marines ran into our first of many Japanese traps. He's cooked. He's cooked. And then another Japanese trap a couple minutes later. Get flashed. Oh my god. Ambush! This is so scary. After getting past the many Japanese traps, I planted a bomb on the Japanese port, and we escaped. Barely. Run. Run. So fire. So fire. This game is so tough. After being dragged to safety on the boat, the mission was over and I got my second trophy. Get your hands dirty for completing the mission on veteran difficulty. Yeah. Side note, like COD 1, you get a trophy after completing every mission on veteran difficulty. And another one. Maybe for beating on veteran? I'm not actually sure. Next mission, Little Resistance, is a classic if you know what I mean. After storming White Beach on the island of Peleliu and calling a naval bombardment on the Japanese front line, I decided to do one of the most iconic Easter eggs in Call of Duty history. There it is. And the ray gun. Thank you. Since I was playing on veteran, I thought it wouldn't hurt to assist myself and get the most overpowered weapon in the game. After getting the ray gun, this mission was pretty much a breeze, but not before getting the trophy Snake in the Grass for killing a Japanese soldier laying in the grass. Alright, and there we go. And I killed someone in the grass, I think. Picking up my second death card and unlocking my second trophy of the mission for killing at least 4 Japanese soldiers with a naval bombardment. That's gotta be 4 people. There we go. Weapon and mass destruction. Clearing out the final enemies, the mission was seemingly over and Sergeant Sullivan was suddenly killed. No! I would always try and stop that. Like, I would always try and get right here and try and stop it from happening. There we go. Now that Sullivan was dead, it was time for Roebuck to take charge. In the third mission, Hard Landing, we are walking through a swamp when we come across a friendly plane that had crashed. And like we saw earlier, this was yet another trap as the dead pilots exploded and Japanese soldiers ran right at us. After getting past the swamp, I cleared out a few bunkers and picked up a flamethrower. This would be necessary for mission progression, but also for the trophy No Safe Place, where I had to burn an enemy out of a tree. Alright, that should be the trophy, if I got him, which I think I did. There we go, No Safe Place. After doing this and clearing out another building, I picked up the death card and we arrived to the airfield. After clearing out the strip, we reached a couple anti-air guns and took those out as well. For the final section of the mission, we had to defend an onslaught of Japanese soldiers as we awaited air support. This was the first tricky part of my playthrough. As soon as I got to the anti-air gun to defend our position, I was instantly lasered by enemies. After utilizing my final smoke and running back and forth from the strip to pick up a bazooka, I destroyed a few tanks and just awaited until air support arrived.
And there's the trophy for completing that mission.
Now it was time for what we were all waiting for, the Russian campaign. I'm not gonna lie, the Russian campaign as a whole, and specifically the first mission, Vendetta, may be one of my favorite, if not my favorite mission in any game I've ever played. Just the opening scene with you surrounded by dead comrades laying in a fountain of blood, waiting to be killed by a German soldier until they all disappear, and you encounter the only other survivor, Reznov. The ambience is peak Call of Duty, and I don't think another COD mission's atmosphere will get as good as this one. After Reznov gives you his sniper, you spy on a group of Germans and the German general Amsel. After Amsel walks away, it's time to eliminate the remaining Germans. This brings me to the first of many trophies in this mission, the Professional, which required me to shoot all of Amsel's henchmen and their attack dog without reloading.
Shoot! No!
Okay.
Right ahead! Again!
Wait for the dog.
Right ahead!
Wait for the dog.
Excellent.
There it is.
You are a
I did it.
natural handler.
That should be the trophy, right? There it is, the Professional.
After watching a tutorial, this was pretty easy and I got it after a few tries. Next I followed Reznov through abandoned buildings and picked up the 4th death card. Now it was time for the second tricky part of the campaign, where I entered a sniper duel with a German in the building across the street. While I heard this was quite difficult because it takes 3 shots to kill the enemy sniper, and because he one-shots you, after a few tries and finding out his patterns, I was able to defeat the German sniper.
His elbow.
Only wounded him. Yeah, you just
All right.
placed him.
I just sold. I'm selling. Yes.
The patrols will surely have heard those shots.
Oh my god. It didn't actually take that long. I should have got it second, third try.
After running away from what seemed like the entire German army, I escaped death once again as our fellow comrades saved us from being executed in the street. The next part was for some reason difficult for me, difficult to the point where I died so much that I received the trophy Purple Heart for dying 20 times in a mission.
Purple Heart. I've already gotten Purple Heart, which I think is died, what is it, 30 times in a mission or something?
During this section, I also got the trophy Rough Economy for killing 3 enemies with a single round. Unfortunately, I wasn't recording when I actually hit the shot because I had to start from the beginning of the mission after I lost my save.
Okay. I guess I got Rough Economy on one of those sniper shots. Interesting.
Nonetheless, the final part of this mission brought me to by far the most annoying trophy in this playthrough, Gunslinger, where I had to assassinate General Amsel with a pistol. And by annoying, I mean this game is so old to the point where Amsel was essentially blending in with pixels, so I was blind firing half the time, and if I didn't take out his guards, I would get sniped, and to top it all off, there was not much ammo in the pistol, so I had to be nearly perfect with my aim. Like the sniper, Amsel had to be hit a couple times before he would die, so I first had to shoot him with a sniper. Then I had to blindly fire at pixels hoping to hit him. This was extremely annoying, and I'm honestly shocked to see that 2.6% of people have unlocked this trophy. I started this section at 53 deaths and I ended with 71, nearly 2 hours later.
Shoot the driver! Stop him!
Oh! I did it! Oh! I did it! Yes! 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 Oh! It's over though. Finally! And it popped immediately. I heard for some people it didn't pop after actually doing it, so.
As you'll see later, I ended this game with a lot of deaths. My main theory for that is not because this game was unbearably hard, but because I was trying to get every trophy on Veteran instead of coming back on Recruit difficulty to get the remaining Miscellaneous trophies. Nonetheless, this is not where my pain and suffering ended. Next mission, Their Land, Their Blood, was honestly one of the easier missions, as all we had to do was fight through the German countryside, destroying tanks and taking control of a mini military camp. In the process, I collected another death card, and that was essentially it for the mission.
Hurrah! There it is. Hammer strikes.
Now it was time to return back to the US campaign in the mission Burn 'em Out. This was the first mission that truly caused me problems. The trophy Firestarter requires players to beat this mission only using a flamethrower, grenades, and melee, and because I was stubborn and that I wanted to get all the trophies on Veteran, I decided to do just that, and let me just say, it was not fun. For your sake and sanity, do not even try this on Veteran. While this is probably the fastest mission to complete in the game, this took me nearly an hour and I died 48 times while attempting to take out each mortar pit. In the process of dying over and over, I also picked up the death card and unlocked the trophy Close Shave for surviving a bonsai attack.
I'm out. Hey guys, just so you know, I'm out right now. I don't know what that means, but something.
Getting this far has been tougher than any of us could
Another
ever
one,
imagine.
please?
The pits showed us that
Fire starter. Thank God. I was hoping it popped because if it didn't, I would have been very upset.
Now it was time for another hard mission, Relentless, which took me an hour to complete. After taking out the first section of Japanese enemies, we reached an entrance to a cave. This was yet another annoying section of the game. One, because friendly AI did absolutely nothing to protect me. Just watch this flame tank move forward while countless amounts of enemies run past it and right towards me. And two, because, well, grenades. I heard a lot about grenades being a big problem in this game, and I really hadn't experienced that until this mission. Every time I'd take damage and prone to recover, a grenade would be thrown right to me, like with the accuracy of Peyton Manning or Tom Brady combined, causing me to get up, run, and likely get hit from the back and die. Pause. After repeating this cycle over and over, the Japanese luck finally ran out and I was able to run all the way to the front of the entrance, allowing waves of them to stop spawning, allowing my teammates to run up, and then granting me a checkpoint. After grabbing the death card and clearing out the cave, the mission was finally over, and I got the trophy Storm Peleliu for completing all the missions set on Peleliu.
Fearless. Storm Peleliu. So I guess that's done with the first section of the United States missions.
Now it was time for the one and only tank mission, Blood and Iron, in the Russian campaign. Since this was a tank mission, there were no death cards to pick up. Instead, the only thing I had to do was destroy 5 bunkers, 3 water towers, and 13 guard towers. This would then grant me the trophy Iron Fist. This mission was pretty easy as I only died a couple times, but when I got to the end I realized that the trophy hadn't popped, so I had to go back and find what was missing. Turns out I was missing 1 bunker.
I like your bunker. I missed it. There we go. Alright.
Overall, Blood and Iron was thankfully one of the easiest missions in the game.
Hell on wheels.
Picking up where Blood and Iron left off, Ring of Steel consisted of me and the rest of the Russian army pushing back the Germans through a town and asylum. After picking up the death card, the only thing I had left to do was kill 15 enemies with the machine gun on top of the tank. Like I said earlier with the anti-air guns and hard landing, as soon as I got on the gun I got lasered. This took a few tries, but thankfully I was able to survive and kill 15 enemies before the mission was over.
Yes! Yes! And I got the checkpoint. Thank God. Didn't take as long as some, but it did take quite a while, and I'm glad it's over. And I do not have to do that again. No return.
Next was the mission Eviction. This was yet another dark Russian mission. After killing some enemies throughout a destroyed apartment building, we reached a street full of Germans. In the apartment, I picked up another death card. This also took a few tries to get past as the checkpoints were spaced out and, unlike the game, like every mission, forced you to push up, and if you didn't, enemies would endlessly spawn. After finally clearing the street, we reached a subway, where I got my next trophy. In the subway, the lights would flicker on and off because of the fighting above. Here, I had to kill 10 enemies while the lights were off, which wasn't too bad because when the lights were off, the enemy AI were essentially blind and wouldn't really fire at you.
How many more do I need? There we go, I was gonna say.
After clearing out most of the subway, we reached a locked door. In an effort to kill us, the Germans flooded the subway as soon as Reznov opened the door, where the mission ended, leaving us on a cliffhanger.
Bitter months after it.
When it rains, it definitely
We
pours.
shipped out.
Next was probably the easiest mission in the game, Black Cats. I remember playing this game growing up, and when I played, I remember not really liking this mission due to the repetitive nature of shooting down planes and destroying ships. These types of missions seem to be staples in the Call of Duty franchise. While this mission didn't have a death card, it did have 2 trophies. The first was to destroy all of the spotlights on the Japanese cargo ships, which was pretty easy and almost unmissable since this game required you to destroy the ships completely.
Oh, there it is. I see it. I get it. as to what. There we go. Lights out. Okay.
And 2, destroy 45 enemy planes. Apparently to a lot of people, this is one of the hardest miscellaneous trophies in the game, but in all honesty, I didn't find it that challenging, as the game actually gives you a counter of how many you destroyed. I was able to do this first try and the mission was over.
40, 5 more, 5 more, 5 more. No, we're not. No, we're not. Yes! That's 45, right? That's all I needed. Yes! Oh my god. Made me a little nervous.
Okinawa have taken their toll.
Round bad, gotta.
Now it was time for the penultimate US mission, Blowtorch and Corkscrew. This mission was also one that I remembered well, as the scenery and atmosphere is so captivating. Something about fighting through tall grass in the middle of a thunderstorm was so cool to me growing up. As I was growing tired of dying over and over in previous missions, I decided that I'd try a new strategy: smoke. At the beginning of the mission, most enemies are camouflaged in the grass, so what I did was throw smoke and run to the objective, and somehow it worked, and I was able to avoid killing a lot of enemies. After blowing up a bunker, I picked up a death card. I then blew up the last 2 bunkers, and we rendezvoused with the rest of the Marines. This part was also annoying, as I had to fight my way to a fortress-like bunker. After trying to go around to the right and dying right before the checkpoint, I went to the left, which was honestly shorter, and I entered the fortress. After cleaning out the bunker, I got to the top and the mission was over.
Blowtorch and Corkscrew.
Now it was time for the final US mission, Breaking Point. Breaking Point was honestly not bad at all. After getting ambushed and then pushing back the Japanese to their mortars, I picked up a death card and killed 8 Japanese with thrown mortars, which granted me the trophy Mortardom.
There we go, Mortardom.
After clearing out the mortar pits, we continued on through a tunnel and to a Japanese castle. As the mission seemed to come to a close, we got ambushed again, and I was given the option to either save Private Polonsky or Sergeant Roebuck. Since saving Roebuck granted me the trophy Guardian Angel, he was the obvious pick, and quite frankly I thought he was a more important character.
Shit!
Okay. Here I have to save Roebuck, and I had one job, and I did not fulfill that one job. Okay, I guess it works. Guardian Angel, okay. I guess.
After holding off the last Japanese surge and calling in some air bombardments on the castle, the US campaign was over. I also got the trophy The Last Stand for completing all the missions based in Okinawa.
I guess what? Oh, there's 2. There's 2. Okay.
Now, I know this next mission is probably the reason you clicked on the video, and I have to say, I don't blame you, because I too enjoy watching someone sit in pain and agony while trying to achieve a platinum. But before we get there, I decided to go back and get the final miscellaneous trophies and co-op trophies, so all the pain would be worth it in the end. The first miscellaneous trophy I went back for was Throw a 6.5, where I had to complete a level without dying on Hardened or Veteran difficulty, and because I'm sick, I stuck with Veteran. I thought the best mission to get this one was Black Cats, because in my first playthrough, I only died once. This was going smoothly until out of nowhere I died to an enemy boat. Luckily, I was able to quickly quit to the main menu, reload the save, and finish the mission. While I didn't think this would work, it did, and I got the trophy.
Don't think I'm gonna get it, which is alright. Yeah, it doesn't seem... Oh, it did work.
Status report.
Okay. Now I don't have to play another mission. That is good. That is actually huge. I was fully expecting to do that again. I guess leaving before I actually fully died was kind of the trick there.
Next miscellaneous trophy I went for was Kamikaze, where I had to finish a mission only using melee and grenades. And while you could do this on Recruit, again, I'm sick and I wanted to do it on Veteran, and that's exactly what I did. I went back to Semper Fi and instantly speedran it, while also trying to dodge every bullet like I was in the Matrix. Don't get me wrong, I definitely died a lot, which again is probably the reason for the high death count, but surprisingly, I actually enjoyed this trophy, and it didn't take too long.
We're good.
This is where it does. We better not.
Hands up. No shooting. I think we're good. You good? Please? I really don't want to do that again.
We're heading up an all-out assault on Peleliu Island.
There it is.
No POWs.
After my 10-hour playthrough of getting all the trophies I possibly could, the next day I dove into the always dreaded multiplayer and co-op trophies. Since this game is 16 years old, the servers obviously aren't very populated aside from those still playing zombies, but to my surprise, there were actually 4 people playing competitive co-op, And yet again, to my surprise, I joined a lobby with 2 other players where I got my first co-op trophy, get your foot wet for completing a competitive co-op match.
Well, it was worth an effort. I almost got in first. I mean, I didn't need to be in first because there aren't 4 people, but it would have been nice. It would have been a little confidence booster, and I didn't die, so no need to change the counter. Ooh, I went crazy. Here it comes. There it is.
Shout out to these 2 for actually randomly playing co-op the same day I was going for these trophies. This, unfortunately, is where my luck ran out, as I spent the next hour trying to find a group of 4 to randomly join me, so I could get the last 2 co-op trophies. My only option now was to head on to PSN Profiles and join a boosting session, and to my surprise, there was one in a few days. After joining my fellow trophy hunters, I got the trophy Blue Ribbon, which required me to come in first in a 4-player competitive co-op game.
Alright, and that was it. Again, very quick. Probably quicker than the other one, if I'm being honest. So yeah, that was easy. 63 kills. Shout out to them, though. Shout out to all the people boosting. There it is, Blue Ribbon.
And the trophy Get Your Left Foot Wet for completing a campaign co-op match.
And that's it. Here we go. There it is. Get your left foot wet. And there it is. All the co-op achievements have been complete.
Shout out to Rescoden, Hot Sauce Crab, and Frosthead for helping me out. Now, it is time for what we have all been waiting for. Heart of the Reich. Since I had finished almost all of the campaign a couple days earlier, I was optimistic that the last 2 missions weren't going to take me that long, but I was surely mistaken. The beginning of the mission began with Reznov pulling me out of the subway. After getting to my feet, I ran to the left and collected my second to last death card. After clearing out a building and a library, it was time for the hard part. Like in COD 1, me and the rest of my Russian comrades had to rush to the top of the Reichstag, but first I had to take out 4 anti-tank guns. This was not easy, as this mission by far featured the most enemies, and because of that I was a magnet to their grenades. Every time I would stop, I would be hit with a grenade and have to leave cover. While this wasn't different from many other missions, there were an insane amount of enemies with very few checkpoints. After taking out the first 2 anti-tank guns, I received a checkpoint, but this is where it got bad. I died over and over and over and over. Now, my only strategy was to move up so Reznov and the other Russians could move up, and then I would move back and let them clear out the next section of Germans, and this actually worked effectively. But I started to get flashbacks to COD 1 where every time I would be right in front of a checkpoint, I would die and have to start all over.
There's no chance that just hit... No! No!
After finally destroying the last 2 anti-tank guns, I pushed up to the broken houses. After dying over and over and over again, the worst thing imaginable happened.
My game just crashed.
My game crashed. I had a similar experience earlier in my playthrough where on Vendetta I accidentally killed Ansel with my sniper and immediately closed out to the main menu. When I loaded back, the game placed me back at the start of the mission and I had to do it all over again. So I had a bad feeling that I would have to start Heart of the Reich all over again, and I was right. Since I had done it a few minutes before, it didn't take me too long to get back to where I was, and thankfully I ended up with a better checkpoint than I had previously. Now all I had to do was get to the top of the stairs. Since Russians aren't equipped with smoke, I couldn't do my strat, but I said screw it and ran anyway, and it actually worked, and I got a checkpoint. But now, every time I died, I essentially got spawn killed, so after dying over and over and over again...
This dumbass game. That's what it is. It's a dumbass game. The controller's broken. I broke the controller.
I ran back to the front of the houses and let my fellow Russians do all the work. After a few tries, just when I thought it was over, I ran to the top of the stairs where a flamethrower came out of nowhere and insta-killed me.
Huh? What?
Shortly after, I did the same thing, but this time I stayed as far away as I could from the flamethrower. Now, with the flamethrower dead and my path being clear, I ran to the top of the stairs to the entrance of the building, concluding Heart of the Reich.
Oh my god. By far the worst mission I think I've ever played. Ever. That was horrendous. But it's over. For the motherland. Oh my god.
I began this mission with 275 deaths and ended with 407, doing what I didn't think was possible, surpassing my grand total of 320 on Call of Duty 1. Now it was time for Downfall, the final mission of this game. Honestly, the hardest part of this mission was the very first section. After getting to the side corridor, I was able to flank the enemies in the middle of the open area and progress to the next section. After getting to Parliament, Reznov, me, and a few other Russians took out a few Germans on the ground from high up on the balcony. We then went downstairs to clear out the remaining Germans. From there, we went up some stairs and reached the roof. This was another tough section, but after my 400 plus deaths, I finally acquired the skill of patience and was able to get through the enemies in a few tries. Also, it seemed as if the Germans used all of their grenades in the previous mission because I don't remember actually being hit with any in this mission. Nonetheless, time had finally arrived. After countless deaths, a broken controller, and a lost voice, I could finally say I had earned the World at War Platinum. After picking up that Soviet flag and running to the peak of the building, I remember that I forgot the final death card.
I forgot the death card.
While contemplating whether a collectible trophy was worthy enough to be the final trophy before I earned what only 6.4% of others had, I decided no and exited to the main menu. Thankfully, it put me at the final checkpoint where I ran all the way back down the stairs through Parliament to pick up the final death card, giving me the trophy Grave Robber for collecting all death cards.
And there it is, Grave Robber. Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot about that. Good thing I did, so I could come back before the mission was over. I'm shocked I was able to.
Now, I raced back up the stairs, where once again, I picked up the Soviet flag and ran to the peak of the building, where I was then shot by the last German soldier in the game. But no need to fear, Reznov is here, and he brutally used a machete to eliminate his opponent. I managed to get to my feet where I finally planted the flag on top of the Reichstag, putting a close to one of my most fulfilling platinums to date.
As long as you live,
Thank you.
the heart of this army can never be broken. Things will change.
It's over.
As heroes, we will return to Russia's embrace.
It's over. 1,
That's the force.
2,
The victory.
3, 4, 5. One more. What? There it is. The platinum. World at War Platinum. Oh my god.
This was again by far one of my favorite platinum trophies. Well, it probably was a bit more difficult than it should have been. It only made for a more fulfilling platinum. When I planted that flag, I felt as though I truly earned the platinum trophy. World at War really made you work for it, and I respect them for doing that. Even though this game caused a lot of anger, specifically in the last 2 missions, which took over 3 hours to complete, it is still one of my favorite games of all time, and a truly underrated title in the Call of Duty franchise. I hope you guys enjoyed watching me somehow get through this game on veteran difficulty, and if you did enjoy, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next platinum video.